Listen to me, the fire you're feeling, the weight you're carrying, the storm you're standing in, it's not the end of you, it's the shaping of you. What you're calling a breakdown is your breakthrough in disguise. Because when the Almighty loves you, He doesn't spoil you, He tests you. And your test is not your punishment, it is your promotion. See, we've been made to believe that struggle is a sign of failure. That when things go wrong, we must be out of favor. But what if I told you that the pressure, the pain, the delay, the betrayal, it's not because He's forgotten you, it's because He's chosen you. Yes, chosen, because the ones He loves the most, He tests the deepest. Not to destroy you, but to expose your strength, to raise your rank, and to polish your soul. Your test, my friend, is the doorway to your success. You've been told that tests are signs of weakness, that if you're being tested, it must mean you've done something wrong, that the storm in your life is because you're cursed or forgotten. But let me tell you something that will shake the lies out of your soul. Being tested is not a sign of neglect. It's the clearest sign of divine love. You see, the ones most dearly loved are the ones most deeply tried. And that's not a punishment, that's a privilege. Because when the Almighty loves you, He doesn't leave you where you are. He doesn't let you stay soft, stagnant, spoiled, or sleepy. No, He shakes you, He wakes you, He stretches you, He puts weight on your shoulders because He knows you can carry it. He puts heat on your chest because He knows your heart is strong enough to bear it. The test you're going through, it's not happening because you're failing. It's happening because you were chosen to pass. You ever notice that the most precious things in life, gold, diamonds, pearls, they're hidden in pressure and darkness and fire? You don't find diamonds on the sidewalk. You don't pick pearls off the surface of the sea. You've got to dig deep. You've got to go down to places no one else wants to go, and you've got to endure things no one else wants to endure. That's what a test is. It's the process of transforming something ordinary into something extra. That's what's happening to you. But here's the part most people miss. These tests aren't meant to break you. They're not meant to ruin your life. They're not meant to embarrass you or humiliate you. They are designed, handpicked, and timed perfectly to build you. And He only builds what He plans to use. He only sharpens what He wants to send out. He only tests the ones who have greatness planted deep inside of them. So yes, it's hard. Yes, you might cry, you might scream, you might get angry and say, why me? You might fall on the floor in a moment of weakness and beg for relief. And that's okay, you're human. Even the strongest can shake. But don't mistake your tears for failure. Don't mistake your breakdown for defeat. That moment when you're on your knees, when no one sees what you're carrying, when you're smiling outside but collapsing inside, that moment is where love meets test. Because the one who created you is watching, and He is saying, I see you, I chose you. I'm not testing you because I hate you. I'm testing you because I love you. If He didn't love you, He would have left you alone. He would have let you stay small, stay unchallenged, stay forgotten. But He sees more in you than you see in yourself. That's why He tests you. That's why He places the fire where it hurts most. Because fire doesn't come to destroy gold, it comes to show it off. So stop looking at your test like it's your downfall. Start seeing it for what it is, a signature of divine love. You are not being ignored, you are not being punished, you are being molded, refined, and raised up because someone loves you enough to test you. And the real question is, are you ready to embrace that kind of love? Because it's not soft, it's not quiet, it's not comfortable, it's real, it's raw, it's wild, and it will change you forever. There's a fire you feel when life turns against you, when the things you thought were stable suddenly collapse, when the people you trusted turn their backs, when plans fall apart and the sky above you turns gray without warning. It burns, it confuses, and deep inside you might scream, why is this happening to me? You might feel anger at life, at the world, and maybe even at yourself. But let me take you behind the curtain of what you think is pain. Let me show you the truth behind the fire. You see, when something is truly valuable, it's never left in its raw form. It has to be refined. Gold doesn't shine when it's first pulled from the earth. No, it's dirty, covered in rock and dust, rough to the touch, almost unrecognizable. But what does the refiner do? He places that gold in fire, not a warm bath, not a gentle polish. Fire. Because fire strips away everything that doesn't belong. The flame burns off the dirt, the grime, the weakness, the things that weigh it down, until what's left is pure, brilliant, and priceless. You are that gold. But here's where it gets real. Purification hurts. That's why most people avoid it. Most would rather stay dusty and unrefined than go through the burning that makes them shine. But the ones who are truly loved, truly seen, truly destined for something greater, they are not left to stay the same. They are thrown into that fire. It's not a fire of destruction. It's a fire of transformation. That heartbreak you didn't see coming, that betrayal that sliced through your soul like a blade, that job you lost, the sickness you fought, the anxiety that kept you up at night, the moments where your hands shook and your voice cracked because you didn't know how much longer you could hold on. That was the fire doing its work, burning off arrogance, burning off attachments, burning off dependency on the wrong things. And in that moment, in that heat, you weren't being broken. You were being made. You ever laugh through tears? That strange feeling when pain pushes you so far that you just start laughing. Not because you're happy, but because you've discovered a kind of strength in yourself you never knew existed. That's the joy of the fire. That's the moment when you realize, I went through it, I burned in it, but I came out of it and I'm not who I used to be. There is a strange beauty in pain when you realize it's shaping you. And let's not pretend this is easy. There's a seriousness here that can't be sugarcoated, because some people will carry wounds no one else can see. Some will have nights they don't speak of, and still they rise, not in spite of the fire, but because of it. The fire gave them clarity. It showed them what matters. It taught them what to let go of. It taught them to stop chasing approval, to stop trying to be perfect, and to start focusing on what's eternal. What a powerful love that is. To be tested, refined, and purified, not because you were rejected, but because you were chosen to be more. So the next time you feel the heat, remember what's really happening. Don't curse the fire. Don't run from it. Look it in the face and say, I know what this is. This isn't here to kill me. This is here to reveal me. Because the fire doesn't destroy gold. It reveals the treasure that was buried all along. There are moments in life when you stand in the middle of something you never thought you could survive. The kind of moment where your breath feels shallow, your knees weak, and you wonder, how am I still here? And that's the exact moment when you realize something powerful. This test, this pain, this pressure, it didn't come to show your weakness. It came to reveal your strength. You see, we walk through life not knowing what we're truly made of. We think we're strong because we can smile when things are good. We think we're tough because we can handle inconvenience, delays, little arguments, minor disappointments. But real strength shows up when you're pushed to your absolute limit, when you've got nothing left in the tank, when sleep won't come, when tears won't stop, when the world around you is falling apart, and yet you keep going. And that strength, it's not something you fake. It's not a show. It's not a performance. It's the kind of strength that's born in silence, in solitude, in the deep night hours when you cry into a pillow so no one else hears. It's the kind that rises in you when your heart is broken, but your faith refuses to die. That's the kind of strength that only a test can bring to the surface. The truth is, you never really know yourself until you're tested. People will say they're patient until patience is the only thing they have left. People will say they trust their Lord until they lose what they love most. People will say they're grateful until they're stripped down to nothing and still told to say thank you. That's where strength is found. That's where your soul is peeled back, your pride is shattered, and your real self is exposed. And when you discover that you didn't break, that you bent but didn't snap, that you were shaken but still standing, something changes inside you. You stop pretending, you stop performing, you stop apologizing for being in the process. Because you now know what you're capable of. Not in theory, not in words, but in real, blood-deep, soul-tested truth. There's a strange kind of joy that sneaks up on you in the middle of all this. A quiet joy. The kind that says, I went through fire and I didn't just survive. I grew, I matured, I evolved. You start to smile through scars. You start to laugh in the face of things that used to make you crumble. Because you remember who you were before the test and you see who you are now. And sometimes you get angry when people try to judge your strength like they know your story. You get frustrated when someone looks at your calm and thinks you've never been through a storm. They don't know what it cost you to find peace. They don't know the battles you fought in secret just to show up whole in public. And that anger, that fire, it doesn't make you bitter. It makes you real. It keeps you humble. Because you didn't get here by luck. You were forged in something they didn't see. And you carry that quiet victory like armor. So don't underestimate the power of your test. Don't let the world tell you that your struggle was pointless. Don't let anyone downplay what you've endured. Because when you were tested, you didn't just endure. You discovered strength you didn't know you had. You rose. You fought. You bled. And you won. Your test revealed a warrior, a believer, a survivor. And no one can take that from you. Have you ever stood at the bottom of something so heavy, so painful, so exhausting that it made you question everything? A loss that stole your breath, a disappointment that crushed your confidence, a betrayal that made your heart ache in ways words couldn't describe. In those moments, it's easy to feel like the world is against you, like everything is falling apart, like you're being buried under weight too heavy to carry. But what if I told you, you're not being buried, you're being planted. And this test you're facing, this heartbreak, this struggle, this delay, this chaos isn't a wall. It's not here to stop you. It's a staircase, a step, a platform being built beneath your feet, raising you one test at a time towards something greater than you ever imagined. We like to think of success as a smooth ride. We imagine ourselves climbing without slipping, winning without weeping, rising without hurting. But real success, the kind that's deep, lasting, and meaningful, it doesn't come on a silver platter. It comes through fire, through grind, through loneliness, through nights of questioning and mornings of getting up anyway. Every single test you face is a step higher. A test of your patience, step. A test of your relationships, step. A test of your finances, your health, your peace of mind, step after step after step. You keep moving, you keep growing, and without even realizing it, there's a moment in every journey where you want to quit. A moment when you throw your hands up and say, I've had enough. Maybe you've had that moment already. Maybe you've had it more than once. Maybe you're having it right now. But let me tell you something you need to hear with every fiber of your being. This is not where your story ends. This is just another step. Don't stop climbing now. Don't sit down on a staircase that was meant to elevate you. I know it's hard. I know the pain feels personal. I know the silence feels loud. I know sometimes you want to laugh at the irony of it all, how you're trying so hard to do the right thing and still life keeps hitting. But remember this, elevation doesn't happen in comfort. The higher you go, the thinner the air. The more intense the training, the greater the mission. And that's what this is, training. Have you ever looked back at something that once broke you and now it barely stings? You laugh a little at how much it shook you. You smile at how far you've come. That's proof. Proof that what you're going through now will one day be beneath you. That's the power of divine growth. Tests aren't there to trap you. They're there to take you higher. And yes, sometimes that growth feels like punishment. Sometimes you look around and say, why am I going through this when others seem to be living so easy? But the tree that bears the sweetest fruit is often the one that gets pruned the hardest, the one that's stretched, pressed, and cut back. Because it was never meant to stay small. You were never meant to stay small. So don't mistake your test for rejection. Don't mistake your struggle for being forgotten. Every test you pass builds a foundation beneath your feet. Every sleepless night, every tear, every breath you took when breathing felt impossible, it was building you, strengthening you, elevating you. You're not stuck. You're rising. And when you reach that place, when you stand on the height that all your pain built for you, you will know without a doubt that none of it was wasted. Not a single tear. Not a single second. Every test was a step. Every trial, a lift. Every storm, a push. You are not failing. You are climbing. Keep stepping. There is a kind of silence that cuts deeper than noise. It's the silence that follows a desperate prayer, the kind where your chest trembles and your words crack mid-sentence, the kind of prayer that comes from the rawest place inside you, when no one else knows what you're going through, when no one else sees the tears on your pillow, when you raise your hands and beg, please, just give me something. And then, nothing. No sign, no dream, no miracle, just silence. And that silence feels like a storm in your soul. You start asking questions you never thought you'd ask. Am I being ignored? Did I do something wrong? Have I been abandoned? The pain of waiting without answers can feel like standing in the middle of a desert, looking at the sky, pleading for rain. And all you get is dry wind and dust. It makes you angry sometimes, not at your creator, but at yourself, at the world, at the feeling of helplessness, because you're doing everything you were taught to do. You're holding on, you're being patient, you're praying, you're trying, but the silence doesn't break, the doors don't open, the weight doesn't lift. But let me tell you something that will shift your soul if you let it in. Silence is not absence. Silence is not rejection. That silence you feel is a test, and not just any test. It is one of the greatest tests of all, because it reveals something more valuable than anything: trust. Trust is easy when the path is clear. Trust is comfortable when everything is falling into place. But the real measure of trust is when the heavens are quiet and you still choose to believe. When you feel alone, but you still whisper, I know you're with me. When everything in your life is screaming, give up, but something deep inside you says, hold on. That's not weakness. That's not blind optimism. That's a warrior's heart. Sometimes silence is the answer, because in that silence, you're not being ignored, you're being watched. You're being shaped, because silence pulls things out of you that ease never could. It exposes the roots of your faith. It strips away the surface level beliefs, the shallow hope, and forces you to dig deep, deeper than you ever thought you could go. And it's serious, because that kind of silence either breaks you or makes you unshakable. There's beauty in that silence if you look close enough. Because when all you have left is trust, you realize it's the only thing you ever truly needed. That silence teaches you who you really rely on. Not the job, not the people, not the applause, just the one who sees you when no one else does. The one who delays not out of punishment, but out of precision. Because maybe what you're asking for is too small. Maybe what you're praying for right now would limit what's really meant for you. Maybe you're not being denied, you're being prepared. And yes, it's hard. It's serious. This test is not for the faint of heart. It's for those whose souls were built for elevation. For those who can sit in the quiet, in the waiting, and still believe. That kind of person walks out of the silence with a kind of strength that nothing else can give. And then one day, without warning, the silence breaks. And when it does, you'll look back and understand everything. You'll laugh, not because it was funny, but because the plan was so perfect. The timing was so precise, the pain was so purposeful. You'll smile through tears and say, now I see. That silence wasn't empty, it was sacred. So if you're in that silence right now, don't walk away. Don't give in to the voice that tells you it's hopeless. Stay, hold on, trust through the silence, because in that stillness, something is being written for you that will change your life forever. And when that chapter opens, you'll be ready, not because it was easy, but because you trusted when it was hardest. There is a moment in every test when the storm gets louder than your thoughts, when nothing makes sense anymore, when the path you were on disappears under your feet and everything inside you begins to crack. It feels like you're drowning in emotions you can't explain. Anger, confusion, sadness, doubt. And the one question that comes up again and again is, why now, why me? You start to look around at others who seem to be living their lives without interruption. They're smiling, posting, laughing, thriving. And you're just trying to hold it together. You're waking up and fighting the same demons every day while the world around you spins on like your pain is invisible. And that makes the test feel even heavier. Because it's not just the weight of what you're going through, it's the isolation that comes with it. The feeling that no one sees you, no one understands, and worse, maybe no one cares. But what if I told you you're being trained in a way that only a chosen few are trained? What if this test, this pain is the furnace that is forging the strongest parts of you? Because not everyone gets chosen for deep transformation. Not everyone is given the kind of trial that shapes them into leaders, healers, voices of strength. Only those who are meant to carry something greater are chosen to go through something harder. And that's not easy to accept. It's not a feel-good message. It's serious. Because real growth hurts. Real strength comes from pressure. A tree that stands tall and strong doesn't grow in perfect weather. It grows through storms, through winds that try to break it, through seasons that strip it bare. But it still grows. It still reaches, and eventually it shades others. It bears fruit. It becomes a source of life for others. That's what you're being built into. You may not see it now. You may still be in the part of the story where the pressure is unbearable, where your heart is raw and your soul is tired, where laughter feels foreign and smiles feel forced, and yet you're still here, still waking up, still trying. That alone is strength. That's the kind of power that doesn't get applause, but it's the kind that gets results, the kind that changes destiny. And there's joy waiting on the other side of this test. Joy so deep it will make you forget how heavy the tears once felt. Joy that will fill the places that pain used to occupy. The kind of joy that doesn't just visit you, become it. Because you endured, because you held on when giving up would have been easier. And somewhere down the line, maybe months, maybe years, you're going to come across someone who is drowning in the same storm you survived. And you're going to look them in the eye and say, I've been there. I know how it feels. And because of what you went through, you'll be able to lift them up. Speak life into them. Be the calm in their chaos. So don't underestimate what this test is building inside of you. It's not just about your survival, it's about your becoming. You are being stretched, not to break, but to grow. You are being broken open, not to be destroyed, but so something new can be born. You are being emptied so you can be filled with something greater than you had before. Let the tears fall. Let the emotions rise. Let yourself feel the depth of what you're facing, but don't ever, ever forget. You were chosen for this, not because you were weak, but because something stronger than you even knew was hidden inside you, and it took this test to reveal it. And when you come out of it, and you will, you'll walk with a fire in your eyes, a calm in your spirit, a quiet kind of power that doesn't need to prove anything because you were tested and you passed. There's a point in every painful journey where you find yourself standing in the ruins of what used to be. The job you lost, the love that walked away, the opportunities that vanish right before your eyes. These are the moments that strip you, that shatter you. And as you stand there staring at everything that's no longer there, you wonder if anything good could possibly come from this kind of devastation. Your heart is heavy, your mind is racing, and your soul feels hollow. But here's the truth, every test is a doorway. And behind that doorway is a version of you that you haven't met yet, a version that is wiser, sharper, deeper, stronger, more grateful, a version of you that understands things you couldn't have understood before the storm hit. That test didn't come to destroy you, it came to transform you. You see, when life is comfortable, we don't change, we cruise. We stay in the same mindset, the same patterns, the same circle of thinking. But pain is a sharp teacher. It grabs you by the collar, sits you down, and shows you parts of yourself you never knew existed. It forces you to look inward, to confront your fears, your flaws, your wounds, your beliefs. And sometimes that confrontation is terrifying. You might cry in frustration, asking, why did it have to happen this way? But it's only in that space, when you've been stripped of everything familiar, that you begin to rebuild something real. You start to see life differently. What used to matter so much, people's opinions, status, superficial achievements, suddenly doesn't have the same grip on you. You realize how little you actually need to be content. You find joy in the smallest things, the morning light on your face, the sound of a child laughing, the silence after prayer. You begin to understand that peace was never outside of you. It was waiting for you to slow down, to stop chasing and to become. And yes, there's a kind of joy that rises from the ashes. The kind of joy that isn't loud or flashy. It's quiet, but it's powerful. It's the joy that comes from surviving, from knowing that what was meant to crush you ended up building you. You can laugh again, not because everything is perfect, but because you're still standing. That laughter is laced with strength. It's not naive laughter, it's earned. But before you get there, there's a fight. Oh, there's a fight. A wrestling match with your doubts, your regrets, your anger. There's a night where you scream into the void, a day where you feel numb. And in those moments, you might want to give up. You might say, what's the point? But somewhere deep inside you, something won't let you quit. That flicker of faith, that tiny voice that says, just take one more step. And when you take that step and the next one after that, something miraculous happens. You begin to rebuild not the same version of your life, but a better one, a wiser one. A life that has been touched by loss, but purified by purpose. The old you needed to go so that the real you could rise. This test, it wasn't a punishment, it was a process. It was a refining fire. And the person you are now, more grounded, more aware, more compassionate, is the evidence that the fire worked. So don't wish the test away. Don't resent the pain. Let it shape you. Let it deepen you. Because what your becoming through this test is far more valuable than anything you lost. You are being molded into someone who carries light, someone who walks with wisdom, someone who doesn't just talk about faith, but embodies it. This is your becoming, and it's beautiful even when it hurts. You ever sit in the middle of a storm and wonder, what did I do to deserve this? That kind of storm where you're not just wet from the rain, but soaked in heartache, drenched in confusion, the kind of storm that doesn't just disrupt your life, it hits your soul. And you find yourself asking, why does it seem like every time I try to do right, everything around me goes wrong? That's not a light question. That's the kind of question people ask when they're tired, spiritually tired, when they've been holding on for so long, but nothing seems to change. And here's where it gets real. Most people don't realize that it's in that very place, the place of breaking, that greatness begins. See, tests have a way of revealing what's buried deep. They don't just shake your schedule. They shake your character. They confront the image you've built of yourself and say, let's see who you are when it's hard. Because it's easy to smile when life is soft. Easy to be kind when people treat you right. Easy to be patient when everything is going your way. But when everything is stripped away and you're left with nothing but your faith and your breath, that's when the real you shows up. And here's the wild part. Most people think that when they're tested, they're being punished. That they must have done something wrong, that maybe they slipped up or missed a step. But what if that test you're facing is not punishment, but promotion? What if it's the sign that you're being elevated, not abandoned? Because the heaviest tests are often placed on the strongest shoulders. And not because those people have it all together, but because their strength has to be proven, refined, forged. The truth is, every test reveals something priceless. It might reveal hidden pride that needs to be humbled. It might expose impatience that's been buried under routines. It might draw out a deeper gratitude, because sometimes it takes losing something to finally see its worth. But no matter what the test brings out, one thing's for sure: it doesn't leave you the same. And it's not just about what's revealed, it's about what's planted. Seeds get buried before they grow. They get pushed into the dark, surrounded by dirt, seemingly forgotten. But in that quiet, buried place, life begins. Roots form, strength develops in secret, and one day that seed breaks the ground and rises. That's you. That's what's happening inside your soul while you're fighting, crying, enduring, surviving. There's anger that comes with the process. Let's not pretend there isn't. You'll feel it. You'll clench your fists and say, why now? Why like this? You might look up with tears in your eyes and ask, how much more? And that anger, it's not always bad, because that fire inside of you, it means you're still fighting. You're still here, and that matters more than you know. That fight in your spirit is part of your strength. Then there's the laughter. Yes. Even in the middle of pain, you'll find yourself laughing at the absurdity of life. How everything can collapse in a day, and still somehow you're alive, you're breathing, you're walking through the wreckage, and something in you says, I may be broken, but I'm not done. That kind of laugh is power. It says, I know who I am, even when everything around me says otherwise. And eventually, if you hold on long enough, joy comes. But not the kind of joy the world tries to sell. Not the surface level glitter-coated happiness that fades with the next setback. I'm talking about deep joy. Joy that sits in your chest like an anchor. Joy that says, I've been through fire and I'm still standing. That's a joy born from the storm. A joy you can't fake. A joy that whispers, what tried to destroy me only built. This test you're in right now, it's not a detour, it's not a mistake, it's not a punishment, it's a sacred assignment, it's personal, it's precise, it was crafted just for you, not to break you, but to bring out the warrior, the healer, the light bearer that lives inside you. So Don't despise the test. Don't curse the process. Embrace it, even when it hurts. Because every tear, every silent scream, every moment you thought you couldn't make it is being recorded. Not by people, not by the world, but by the one who tests those he loves. Not to watch them fall, but to raise them higher than they ever thought possible. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. This is a truth that doesn't always sit easy in the heart, but once it settles in, it changes how you carry every storm, every silence, every sleepless night. And that truth is this: your test is not just about you. Yes, it's happening to you. Yes, it's hurting you. Yes, you're the one walking through the fire. But what if I told you that what you're enduring right now is shaping someone else's future too? See, when you're going through pain, it feels so personal, so isolating. You think no one understands, no one sees, no one's been through this. And maybe they haven't been through exactly what you faced. But here's what's wild. There's someone out there right now, or someone you'll meet years from now, who's going to be in the middle of their own storm. And they're going to feel like it's impossible to get through it, like there's no hope, like they're drowning in something they can't even name. And then you'll speak, and your words won't just be words. They'll land in their chest like truth wrapped in fire. Because you won't be talking theory. You won't be offering surface level sympathy. You'll be speaking from survival. You'll look at them and say, I've been through the dark. I know how it feels to cry in silence. I know how it feels to wonder if the light will ever come back. And those words will pull them back to life. Because sometimes the only person who can reach someone in pain is someone who has bled in the same places. Your test is a key, and keys open doors not just for you, but for others. Think about it. Have you ever heard someone tell their story and suddenly your shoulders relaxed? Suddenly your tears made sense. That didn't happen by accident. That happened because they were tested, they were crushed, and they came out with a testimony. And now it's you. You being carved into a living, breathing testimony. You are being shaped into someone who doesn't just know faith, you embody it. But let's be real. That realization doesn't erase the pain. It doesn't make the night shorter or the ache lighter. Sometimes it even makes you angry. Why do I have to carry this? Why can't someone else go through this and learn the lesson? That's not weakness. That's honesty. And there's power in being real, because it means you're wrestling with something deeper than most people ever touch. You're not just surviving, you're processing, transforming, becoming. And then one day, maybe in a quiet conversation, maybe from a stage, maybe in a single hug or a simple sentence, you'll give someone else what you never had when you needed it most: hope. And that moment will make sense of the pain in a way nothing else could. There will be joy in that moment, not the loud kind that explodes, but the deep kind that lingers. The kind that makes you close your eyes and whisper, now I understand. You'll laugh, not because it was funny, but because you'll realize how precise the plan was. You'll remember the nights you begged for the pain to stop, and now here you are, turning your pain into someone else's healing. That's purpose. That's legacy. That's what the test was always about. You weren't just being refined for your own growth. You were being entrusted with a kind of strength that lifts others. You were being prepared to carry someone else when their knees buckle. Your wounds will be their wisdom. Your survival will be their strategy. Your past will become their pathway. So don't let the test make you bitter. Let it make you useful. Limit. Because what you're going through now isn't wasted. It's witness. There's a place in every person's heart where they carry unspoken dreams. The things they long for, the desires they wish they could see fulfilled. Maybe it's the dream of a family that feels complete, or the hope of walking into a future where everything aligns, where things finally fall into place. Maybe it's the quiet wish to be recognized, to be seen for the hard work you put in, to have your sacrifices. We hold on to these dreams, these quiet desires that we sometimes don't even dare to speak aloud, because what if they don't happen? What if they never materialize? The fear of disappointment often buries those dreams so deep inside that sometimes we forget to even hope for them. But then the test comes, and everything you thought you knew about those dreams starts to unravel. It's as if the universe has conspired against you, like everything you've worked for is slipping through your fingers. The people you thought would be there for you vanish. The doors you knocked on stay locked. The plans you made fall apart in ways you can't even explain. And in those moments, the deepest part of you wants to scream out, I worked for this. I prayed for this. Why isn't it coming together? But what if, just what if, the delay is the answer? What if the moments of uncertainty and struggle are actually preparing you for something bigger than you ever imagined? What if the wait, the disappointment, the pain is not God saying no, but God saying not yet, because the blessing that's coming is so much greater than you can even comprehend? That's the hardest part to swallow. The waiting. It's not just the pain of not getting what you want. It's the silence. It's the feeling that maybe you've been forgotten, or worse, abandoned. And in that silence, your mind starts to betray you. It starts to whisper that you're not worthy, that you're not good enough, that maybe your dreams were too big to begin with, that maybe you're just not meant for the things you've asked for. You start questioning everything, your choices, your path, your very worth. And in that place, there's a temptation to quit, to turn away from the hope that has carried you this far and settle for something less. But that's the moment when you must decide. Will you continue to trust in the promise even when you can't see it? Will you keep walking even when the road feels like it has no end? Will you hold on to the faith that there is a bigger picture being painted even if you can't see it yet? And here's where the beauty begins. You see, in the waiting and the testing and the struggle, the seeds of your future are being planted. The soil may look barren, the roots may seem fragile, but something is growing underneath the surface. It's the strength you gain from persevering when every part of you wants to quit. It's the wisdom you gain from failing, from falling, from standing back up and trying again. It's the compassion you build from understanding that everyone is fighting a battle you can't see. And it's the clarity you find in the quiet moments when everything seems still, but inside your heart is burning with a knowing that something is coming. Something good. Something meant for you. The test is not just about what you're going through, it's about the person you are becoming because of it. The pain, it doesn't just leave scars, it leaves lessons. The heartbreak, it doesn't just break you, it teaches you what true strength looks like. The moments when you thought you couldn't make it, those are the moments that will define your story, that will make your success sweeter and your joy deeper. The dream that you're waiting on is being formed in the dark just like you are. And when that dream arrives, when it comes, it will not just be the fulfillment of your desires. It will be a reminder of how far you've come. It will be a symbol of your endurance, your strength, your trust. It will be proof that you didn't quit, proof that you believed even when everything around you said to stop believing. And when you finally hold that blessing in your hands, when you see your prayers answered in ways you couldn't have imagined, there will be joy. A joy so deep it feels like you're breathing for the first time. A joy that will make every tear worth it, every step of pain, every moment of silence. You'll laugh not because everything was easy, but because you'll realize that the struggle wasn't just part of the process, it was necessary. It was shaping you. It was preparing you for the gift that was meant for you all along. So hold on to your dreams. Don't give up on them, even in the silence, even in the storm, even in the pain. Hold on, because that test you're facing, it's not a denial, it's a preparation. And when the answer finally comes, you'll see that it was worth the wait. It was worth the struggle. It was worth every single moment you thought you couldn't make it through, because what's coming for you is not just a dream, it's your destiny unfolding. For oh, many